Top 194M and 194L. These two sections came into effect with effect of September 2019. So from exam perspective, these two sections are very important. Section 194M is applicable for those associates who are not liable to deduct TDS under Section 194C or H or A. For those associates are falling in Section 194M. So under 194M, basically three payments are covered. That is payments for professional or technical services, payments towards contractors, and the third category, payment of commission or brokerage. Now the threshold limit what is kept under Section 194M is very high. That is up to 50 lakh, no need to deduct any TDS. The moment it crosses 50 lakh rupees, it is again a yearly threshold limit. The moment it crosses 50 lakh rupees, then TDS has to be deducted. Then for the purpose of remitting the TDS, the associate need not obtain PAN number. Through using the PAN number itself, you can remit the TDS amount, whatever he has deducted, and also you can find the return, which is furnished under income tax test. Section 194N, again it is applicable only for banks, cooperative banks, and for post offices. Only for three kinds of persons are liable to deduct TDS under this section, Section 194N. So till now, this Section 194N is little bit different from all other sections. In all other sections, if you observe the payments, those are all in the nature of an income to the recipient. For example, if you take a 194C, payment to a contractor and there is it. Now, whatever the payment you are making to a contractor, it will become an income in the hands of the recipient. I have you taken another example of 194J, payment to the professionals or a technical fees or remuneration to a director. Again, these are all will become an income in the hands of the recipient or income in the hands of the payee. But if you observe Section 194N, this section provides or puts a liability on the banks, cooperative banks or post offices whenever the assessee withdraws the cash in excess of 1 crore rupees in a year, then TDS has to be deducted at the rate of 2%. That is one provision. Now, whether withdrawal of cash from the bank, is it an income to the assessee? Cash na bank in the withdraw ಮಾಡೋದು, is it an income to the assessee? For example, if you have a balance, bank balance, bank balance ಇದೆ, you ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು cash withdraw ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬರ್ತೀರಿ ATM ಅಲ್ಲಿ by way of check, whether it is an income for you? Is it an income, withdrawing the cash from the bank? The answer is no, isn't it? Because let's say salary is already credited, or from your ಯಾರೋ ಒಬ್ಬ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಯ್ತು already deposit ಮಾಡಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, or you are running a business, so from whatever the business in the collections in ಬಂದಿತ್ತು, that you have deposited to the bank. Now, after some period, you are going and withdrawing the amount. This is not an income in the hands of the recipient. But even though it is not an income in the hands of the recipient, it is against the general rule. If you remember general rule, what we discussed, the TDS has to be deducted only when it is a taxable income in the hands of the recipient. That was the general rule. But again, this is an exception. Section 194N is an exception. Even though there is no income is getting generated for the recipient, it is to be deducted on the cash withdrawal. Now, question will arise. See, whenever in Section 194J or 194J section, when we discuss the initial example, where auditor has done the audit of a company and company has made a payment of agreed for a professional fee, audit fee of rupees 1 lakh. Company agreed for a audit fee of 1 lakh. At the time of payment, after deducting TDS at 10%, company paid, that is company paid to a auditor, which is 90,000. 10,000 they have deposited into the by way of a TDS to the auditor's account. Now question arises, when the auditor files the income tax return, when he files income tax return, IT return, how much income he has to declare? Whether he has to declare 90,000 rupees or 1 lakh rupees. Whether he has to declare 1 lakh or 90,000 rupees. We have discussed the recipient. Who is the recipient in this case? Auditor has to declare his income as 1 lakh rupee. Declare his income as rupees 1 lakh. That is including the TDS, not net of TDS. Net of TDS. He has to declare the gross amount. Getting the point? Now net of TDS agi indicate 90,000 ಬಂದಿದೆ, but you have to add the TDS amount and declare as the income. That was the rule. That is the rule. What is the rule? It says whatever the TDS deducted under the Income Tax Act will be considered as income in the hands of the assessee. Whatever the TDS has been deducted under the Income Tax Act will be considered as income. That's why 90,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees will be added as a TDS or income. Now, if you take an example of 194N, in section 194N, what is happening? Whenever assessee goes to bank and withdraws the cash in excess of 1 crore rupees, assume he has a particular assessee A Limited has withdrawn during the previous year 1920 200 lakhs of cash, 200 lakhs of cash. Now in this case, up to 100 lakhs there is no TDS. Up to 100 lakhs there is no TDS. So TDS will come under section 194N at the rate of 2% for a sum exceeding 100 lakhs. That means the balance 100 lakhs, on the balance 100 lakhs, TDS will be deducted. What is the amount of TDS on the 100 lakhs, balance 100 lakhs into 2%? The amount is rupees 20,000. Amount is rupees 20,000. 20,000 or 2 lakhs? Correct. 20,000 only, isn't it?
2 lakhs.
2 lakh, huh? 100 into 2%.
Yes, sir.
Yes, 2 lakh. 2 lakh rupees is the TDS amount. Now, this is deducted by the, now at the time of withdrawing the cash, let's say 200 lakh withdraw ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ. Now ನಿಮಗೆ net cash ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? Bank has deducted 2 lakh rupees TDS from your account. So net cash ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ bank? Bank is going to give only 198 lakhs. 1 crore 98 lakhs. In the situation where you are withdrawing 200 lakh at a time and bank has given after deducting TDS 198 lakh rupees ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ. Net amount. Now question, are you going to offer this 198 lakh rupees as income? Income ಆಗಿ ಆಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? When you are filing A Limited, at the time of filing the income tax return, whether this 198 lakh will be offered as an income? No. Reason, it is never an income to A Limited. It is just a cash withdrawal, balance sheet item, isn't it? When the amount whatever is withdrawn is notable income, the TDS also cannot be an income in the hands of the assessee. The TDS amount of 2 lakh rupees is deducted by the bank, cannot be treated as an income in the hands of the assessee. Now what happens to this 2 lakh then? It will just go on traded to A Limited account, and A Limited can take the credit of the TDS at the time of filing the income tax return. He can offset the TDS amount against the liability which is to be discharged under the Income Tax Act. Getting the point? So this 2 lakh rupee will never be an income. This TDS amount of 2 lakh will never be an income in the hands of the assessee or the payee. So that is the basic difference between the 194N and the others. Next. Now this section 194N is applicable with effect from 1st September 2019. Applicable from 1st September 2019. The question arises, what happens to the cash withdrawals from April 2019 till 31st August 2019? April 2019 ಇಂದ 31st August 2019 ವರೆಗೂ cash withdraw ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೂ ಕೂಡ TDS ಬರುತ್ತಾ? Answer is no. Let us take an example. Again, there is a clarification given by the CBDT also with respect to this. and it has been included in your study material for the November examination. The clarification is also included. What the clarification says, we'll take an example where A Limited is there, assessee A Limited, withdrawn the cash, withdrawn cash on the following date. Let's say in the month of April 19, it has withdrawn rupees in lakh. April 19, it has withdrawn 20 lakh rupees. It has withdrawn. In May 19, it has withdrawn another 30 lakh. In June 19, let's say, in August 19, June, July, there is no cash withdrawn. August 19, they have withdrawn 70 lakh rupee cash. 60 lakh rupee cash. August 19, till August 19. Okay. Then, in the month of October 19, company has withdrawn another 30 lakh rupee cash. The month of February 20, company has withdrawn another 20 lakh of cash. Okay. Now, what is the total withdrawal? Total withdrawal 20, 30, 50, again 50, and then 150 lakh rupees. Is the total cash withdrawn. Total cash withdrawn during financial year 19-20. Now we need to examine whether section 194N is applicable or not. Section 194N is applicable or not. Now you need to remember the section 194M came into effect from 1st September 2019. Okay. Now tell me whether in this case section 194N is applicable or not. In the given scenario, whether section 194N is applicable or not. If it is applicable, what is the amount of TDS to be deducted?
No TDS is deducted.
Not applicable, huh? Applicable or not applicable? Section 194N. Now, question arises. Provision came into effect from 1st September 2019. That means, should we consider only cash withdrawal from 1st September 2019 onwards, or should we consider the cash withdrawal from April 2019 onwards? April 2019 beginning of the financial year in the cash withdrawal agide adustunu kuda tagolbeka illa 1st September in the cash withdrawal agide ashtu matra tagolbeka for the purpose of 194N. Now, when this confusion arose, the government CBDT has given a clarification. What is the clarification? See, in order to examine whether 100 lakh limit is exceeding or not, in order to examine the threshold limit, 1 crore rupee limit ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. In order to compute that limit, you have to take into consideration the cash withdrawn from the beginning of the financial year. That means April 2019 in the cash withdrawal agide till the end of the financial year, March 31st March 2020 ವರೆಗೂ. You need to take those aggregate amount to see whether 100 lakh limit is exceeding or not. That is only for the purpose of calculating the threshold limit. Once you conclude yes 100 lakh limit is exceeding, then in such a case from which date it has exceeded, ಯಾವ date ಇಂದ ಅದು exceed ಆಗಿದೆ. In my case, from which date 100 lakh is exceeding? It has exceeded in the month of August 2019 itself. Whether in the August 2019 194N provision was there, 194N provision was not there. That means so TDS under section 194N. So one thing is clear, since the assessee has withdrawn more than 1 crore rupees cash during the previous year 1920, isn't it? Put together from beginning in the end variable. So 194N provision is attracted. Question arises, from when I have to deduct TDS at 2%? In the first case, no TDS not applicable because provision itself is not there 194N. In the second case also not applicable. Third case August 19 not applicable. Till here till May 2019 it was not exceeding the 100 lakh, but in August it is exceeding 100 lakh, but the provision was not in effect, so hence no TDS not applicable. But from October 2019 onwards, TDS has to be deducted at the rate of 2%. What is the 2% of rate? We just apply 30 lakh into 2%, 60,000. Then February again 20 lakh into 2%. What? Total TDS to be deducted is 1 lakh. Here, so this is the clarification given. Again, the same thing is given in note number 1 also. Note on 194N. You come to the note part, note on 184N. Cash withdrawal prior to 1st September 2019 will not be subjected to TDS under section 194N. However, for the purpose of computing the threshold limit, 1 crore for financial year 1920, cash withdrawal from April 19 will be considered. So this is the clarification. Using that clarification, you have to compute the TDS. Next. In case assessee has not submitted the PAN, payee, if he is not given a PAN to the payer, then we have already discussed what is the implication. The implication will be TDS will be deducted at the highest of the following rates. What is the highest of the following rates? Rate prescribed in the Income Tax Act or 20%, whichever is higher. Next. Second, now since most of these items what we discussed in the section 193 and 194 are services in nature on the goods or services, there is the indirect tax is levied in India. For example, if you are collecting a audit fee from a client, there's a 1 lakh rupee. The bill raised by a auditor consists of 1 lakh rupee towards a statutory audit fee plus 18% GST. That is comes to 1,18,000 rupees in the bill, isn't it? Even if you go to buy any goods also, in the bill they will give clearly, isn't it? What is the goods amount you are purchasing? Say audit fee, service award is audit service, audit fee is 1 lakh and plus GST, maybe IGST or CGST, SGST, 18% GST at 18%. 18,000 rupees. So together 1,18,000 rupees is the bill given by auditor. To whom is this bill is given? It is given to ABC Limited. Now, this is the invoice value. 1,18,000 rupees is the invoice value. Now, on what amount TDS has to be deducted? Whether it has to be deducted on 1,18,000 or on the only on the service fees. Service fees, that is 1 lakh rupees. Further clarification has been given. It says the person who is liable to deduct TDS has to deduct the TDS excluding the amount of GST. And the GST mele TDS na maanundi. That is TDS rate whatever we discussed, that those rates has to be applied on only on the service component, service value. That is 1 lakh. Yeah, that is the second note. Then third. No TDS if payee is the central government, state government, RBI, statutory corporations or any mutual fund. This is again important. If a payee is the central government, state government or RBI, statutory corporation or any mutual fund, then as per section 196, a payer need not deduct any TDS. 1 lakh rupee kodo 1 lakh rupee full payment has to be. The next. You need to remember, public sector companies are not included here. Exclusion section 186 ಅಲ್ಲಿ public sector companies are not included. That means if you are making a payment to public sector companies like PHEL or GEL or Steel Authority of India or GAIL, Gas Authority of India Limited, these are all public sector institutions, public sector companies ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. If you are paying to those institutions, there is no exemption. There is no exclusion. You have to deduct TDS. Only if it is direct payment to the central government, state government, RBI, statutory corporations, then only this TDS deduction will not arise. Next, where total income of the assessee is not liable to tax or taxable at a lower rate, then he can apply to assessing officer to issue a certificate for non-deduction or lower deduction of TDS. Again, for example, if I am running a consultancy firm, example, if I am running a consultancy firm and my annual income, taxable income, I am talking about the taxable income. All expenses taxable income from last 2 years, it is coming to only 2 lakh rupees. See, if I am giving a consultancy, I am giving consultancy to the corporates, okay, and my consultancy income, let's say, is around 100 lakhs. Consultancy is a technical, assuming it is a technical or professional consultancy. That means on the all 100 lakh rupee, all these corporates are deducting a TDS at the rate of 10%. 10% TDS deduct straight away 10 lakh rupee will be struck. I am not going to receive 100 lakh only 10 lakh rupees struck again. How much I will be receiving? 90 lakh only I will be receiving. But actually, my tax liability during the entire year, for last 2-3 years only, and the tax liability yesterday only 50,000 rupees, because my income is very low, net income, taxable income is very low. So my tax liability coming to only 50,000 rupees. So what the assessee can do in such a case, the assessee can go and approach the assessing officer. See, listen sir, last 2 years in the net income only 2 lakh rupee matra ide, and the tax payable is only 50,000. Even this year also, I am expecting my income is not going to cross, taxable income is not going to cross 2 lakh rupee or 3 lakh rupee, and net tax payable will be maximum 50,000 rupees a stay. But all my customers are deducting TDS at the rate of 10%. And because of that, my funds are getting blocked. Payment because once the TDS is deducted, you cannot apply for the refund immediately. When you can apply for the refund from the government? Only after the end of the year. Here, till such time, your 10% of such, that is 10 lakh rupee, will get struck with the government. So, in order to avoid this kind of a difficulty, as per section 197, there is a provision. This assessee, that is consultancy firm, can go and approach the assessing officer to asking for the assessing officer to permit to deduct the TDS at the rate of lower rate, not at the rate of 10%. That ಎಷ್ಟು rate ಅಲ್ಲಿ deduct ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ assessing officer will give a certificate. For example, assessing officer may tell, okay, ನಿಮ್ಮ customers ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ going forward, that is with effect from May 19 till March 2020 ವರೆಗೂ deduct the TDS at the rate of 3%, not at the rate of 10%. I am going to give a, assessing officer is going to give a certificate. Atara. Clear? If this certificate is obtained by the assessee from the assessing officer, if the same is produced to the payer of the income, then payer, instead of deducting the TDS at the rate of 10%, he is liable to deduct TDS at the rate of 3%. I am just giving an example of 3%, not necessarily 3%. It may be sometimes 0.1% also, because in taxable income loss is there. I am incurring a loss. In such a case, tax liability baroda illa, isn't it? Then in such a case, assessing officer may insist your customers to deduct the TDS at the rate of 0.1% also, isn't it? That is the provision relating to those is given in section 197 and 197 capital A. It says where total income of the assessee is not liable to tax or taxable at lower rate, then we can apply to assessing officer to issue a certificate for no deduction or for a lower deduction. Tax na deduct ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ ಅಂತಾನೂ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಇಲ್ಲ lower deduction 10% ಬೇಡ, 1% ಇಲ್ಲ 0.5% ಇಲ್ಲ 2% ಅಷ್ಟರಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತಾನೂ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. If the certificate is given, based on the certificate, payer can deduct at the lower rate. Fine. The next, tax deducted is income received. Again, this point we already discussed just now. Section 198, as per section 198, all sums deducted, that is TDS, in respect in accordance with the foregoing provisions, shall for the purpose of computing the income of the assessee be deemed to be the income received, except the following. Except the following. Two things are excluded. What are those? Tax paid by an employer under section 192 1A on non-monetary perquisites will not be considered as an income because there is an exemption. There is an exemption. Whatever the tax paid by the employer on the non-monetary perquisite, for that there is an exemption under section 10. We already discussed in salary chapter. That amount will not be considered as income. Second, just now we discussed TDS deduction under section 184N will not be considered as an income as per section 198. As per section 198. All other TDS which are deducted under any other sections will be considered as an income in the hands of the recipient or the team. Okay. So TDS deduct ಮಾಡಿ ಆಯ್ತು. Deduct ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ what is the responsibility or liability of the deductor? This again initial class ಅಲ್ಲಿ explain ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಒಂದ್ಸಲ TDS deduct ಮಾಡಿದ ನಂತರ responsibility ಏನು? In this case ABC Limited, what is the responsibility of ABC Limited? Now whoever is deducting a TDS, the deductor has to remit the TDS to the government. There is a within a specified due date. What is the due dates? These due dates are very important for payment of TDS to the government. What is the due date? They all are electronic payment only. ಯಾವುದು ಕೂಡ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ಯಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ದುಡ್ಡು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬನ್ನಿ, ಚಲನ್ ಫಿಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ, nothing is manual, everything is electronic. E-payments. Now what is the due date for payment of TDS? From April to February, every month you have to pay. Okay, every month whenever you deduct the TDS, each month you have to remit it to the government. Now for the TDS deducted during the April to February months, due date is 7th of the subsequent month. 7th of the subsequent next month ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ subsequent month. For example, April 2019 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ TDS ಡಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ ಅದನ್ನು ರೆಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ what is the due date? What is the due date? ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ ಮಂತ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ TDS ನ ರೆಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ what is the due date?
of May.
7th of May. So similarly, February 2020 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ TDS ನ ರೆಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ the due date is 7th of March. So each month whatever TDS you are deducting has to be remitted within 7 days of the subsequent month. But however, March month TDS ನ ಯಾವಾಗ ರೆಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು? For the month of March, extended period has been given. 7 days alla, up to 30 days time period has been given. So for the month of March 2020, time limit available till 30th April of the next financial year. So that means 30th April 2020 ವರೆಗೂ ಕೂಡ time ಇದೆ. Clear? So generally it is 7th of the subsequent month, but exception case March month, for the month of March, time is available till 30th April of the next financial year. That is the due date for remitting the TDS. After remitting the TDS, ನಿಮ್ಮ responsibility ಮುಗಿತಾ? ಮುಗಿದಿಲ್ಲ. Deductor responsibility is not over. Once the TDS is remitted, paid, one more responsibility is there for the deductor. What is the responsibility? He has to file TDS returns also. TDS return file ಮಾಡದೇ ಇದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ನೀವು ಏನಕ್ಕೆ TDS ಪೇ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಗವರ್ನಮೆಂಟ್ ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. Why you have paid the TDS? Against which party you have paid the TDS? Because once this TDS goes to the government's account, government ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? After that government has to apportion this TDS amount to the various persons accounts. Persons income tax account ಗೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. It is the responsibility of the government. But ಅದು ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ government ಗೆ information ಕೊಡಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, isn't it? That information has to be furnished through a TDS returns. It is in most of the cases these TDS returns are filed quarterly. TDS returns are filed quarterly. Now what is the due date? For that also there is a due date. Within a specified date that has to be filed. The provision relating to submission of a quarterly statement. Section rule 31 capital A. Every person responsible for deduction of tax, that is TDS, shall deliver or cause to deliver the following quarterly statements in accordance with section 200 subsection 3. For TDS deducted under section 192, that is salary ಮೇಲೆ TDS deduct ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? ಫಾರ್ಮ್ 24Q. ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ನಂಬರು, ಡ್ಯೂ ಡೇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಚಾಯ್ಸ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಬರೋ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಇದೆ. ನಾವು TDS deducted under section 192 ಯಾವ section? Salary related. On the salary you are going to deduct TDS. Now if you are deducting TDS on salary, all the details has to be furnished in form number 24Q. Only one form. Okay, fine. Then second, if TDS is deducted under other sections, that is from section 193 to 194, then form number 26Q has to be used. Which form? Form number 26Q. However, if the payment is made to the non-residents, then form number 27Q. Instead of 26Q, 27Q has to be filed. Yeah. Now, what is the due dates? Due dates, again, as I told, it is a quarterly statement. For the quarter ended 30th June, due date is 1 month. Usually 1 month time irutte. 30th June ಗೆ 31st July is the due date. Then 30th September ಗೆ 31st October is the due date. 31st December ಗೆ 31st January is the due date. But March ಗೆ 2 ತಿಂಗಳು time ಇದೆ. Not only 1 month, March ಗೆ 2 months time is there. 31st March ಗೆ quarter ended for 31st March, due date is 31st May of the next finance. Yeah. Now, however, there are the exception. Generally, quarterly return has to be filed, but however, there is a exception to that. What are those exceptions? In case of a section 194M, in case of a section 194IA, in case of a section 194IB, IA, IB, and 194M. These three sections, basically in these three sections only, instead of quarter, because these three sections, if you see the transactions are not recurring in nature will irodilla, isn't it? Only once in a time baruvanthadu. In these cases, the return has to be filed. Return cum payment, eradu kuda ottigene agbeku. Return cum payment has to be made in form number 26QB for TDS deducted under section 194IA, in form number 26QC for TDS deducted under section 194IB, and in form 26QD for TDS deducted under section 194M. When you have to make a payment and file this return within 30 days from the end of the month of deduction of tax. For example, if you are selling a is purchased a flat from XYZ. So what is the value of the flat? Flat value is 70 lakhs. Obviously, section 194 IA is applicable here. No, not applicable. Section 194 IA. What is the rate of TDS under section 194 IA? Who A has to deduct the TDS. Who is making the payment? A is making the payment. Rate of TDS?
5%.
1%. 1%, isn't it? Now, A will deduct 1% of the rupees 70,000. A is going to deduct TDS. Now, for payment of when this transaction is happening, this transaction has happened, let us assume, on 1st June 2019. 1st June 2019, this transaction has started. What is the end date for this? End date, month end. Month end is 30th June 2019. From this, 30 days time is there. 30th June in the 30 days time is there to remit 70,000 rupees. Yes, whatever is deducted by Mr. A. That is 30 days yavagaagtade 30th July. On or before 30th July 2019, Mr. A has to remit this TDS amount of 70,000 rupees along with the filing a form. Which form? Form number 26 QB. Very simple. First ಯಾವ section ಬರುತ್ತೆ? 184 IA ಬರುತ್ತೆ. 184 IA ಗೆ 26 QB. Next ಯಾವ section ಬರುತ್ತೆ? 184 IB. 184 IB ಗೆ form number 26 QC. Next ಯಾವ section ಬರುತ್ತೆ? 184 M. For that QD. 26 QB. Here, any doubt? So when it has to be filed? Within 30 days from the end of the month of deduction of tax. Any doubt till now? Next. TDS returns file ಮಾಡಿದಂತ. That is TDS returns ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ statements, basically quarterly statement. 26 Q ಇರಬಹುದು, 27 Q ಇರಬಹುದು, or 26 Q B C D, whichever form you are filing. Once the form, after the form is filed, department ಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. The department will not keep quiet. ನೀವು ಆ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ, whether that is correct or not, validate ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Maybe clerical validation or rules validation, isn't it? For example, 194J 26Q, form number 26Q you have filed. In that 26Q you have mentioned payment for professional service. Section 194J ಅಂತ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ. Okay, 1 lakh rupee I have paid, but TDS deducted only 2,000. Getting the point? So 184J ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ನಂತರ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನಲ್ ಫೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ನಂತರ TDS ಎಷ್ಟು ಡಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು? 10,000 rupees ಡಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು 10% ರೇಟ್. ಬಟ್ ಹೌ ಮಚ್ ಯು ಡಿಡಕ್ಟೆಡ್?